Imagine a world where your prayers are written by a machine, where your deepest spiritual questions are answered by algorithms, and where millions of people are choosing AI chatbots over priests and pastors for guidance. This is not science fiction. This is happening right now. By the end of this video, you will understand whether artificial intelligence can truly guide our souls, or if we are being deceived by sophisticated technology pretending to be spiritual wisdom. Before we dive deep into this fascinating topic, if you want to explore more thought-provoking content about technology, faith, and the future of humanity, please hit that subscribe button. It really helps us bring you more videos like this one. So let's start with what is actually happening in the world today. Millions of people are now using artificial intelligence for spiritual guidance. They are using AI apps to write prayers, to answer theological questions, to generate sermons, and even to get pastoral counseling. Young people especially, those who have left traditional churches, are turning to chatbots for the spiritual support they once would have sought from human religious leaders. Some people call this blasphemy. Others believe this might be God using modern technology to reach people in new ways. But the real question we need to ask is much deeper than whether this is right or wrong. The fundamental question is this: can artificial intelligence actually help us connect with God? Or is it just giving us information that looks spiritual, but has no real power to transform our lives? To understand this, we need to look at two completely different types of knowledge. The first type is factual knowledge. This is information about things, data, definitions, concepts, theological terms. Think of it like knowing that water boils at 100 degrees Celsius. You have the fact in your head, but you have never touched boiling water. The second type is lived wisdom. This is understanding that comes from personal experience, from actually going through suffering, joy, doubt, and faith in real life. This is like putting your hand near steam and understanding from experience what heat actually feels like. Now, here is where artificial intelligence becomes interesting and also problematic. AI can be absolutely brilliant at the first type of knowledge. It can access millions of books instantly. It can quote every religious text perfectly. It can explain complex theological concepts with amazing clarity. But the second type, lived wisdom, this is where AI faces a massive problem. Wisdom does not come from reading books or processing data. Wisdom comes from walking through life with God, from integrating knowledge with love, from connecting truth with real experience. It comes from personal battles with pride, from wrestling with doubt in the middle of the night, from experiencing failure and discovering grace in the darkest moments. Think about someone giving you advice about grief. Would you rather hear from someone who read 1,000 books about grief, or from someone who actually lost someone they loved and survived that pain? The person with lived experience has something the books alone cannot give. They have wisdom earned through tears. So when we ask, can AI guide us spiritually, we are really asking, can a machine that has never suffered, never doubted, never experienced love or loss or transformation, truly guide someone through their spiritual journey? Can it understand what it means to feel abandoned by God? Can it comprehend the sweetness of divine comfort after a long period of darkness? Has it ever experienced having its worst failures transformed into stepping stones toward growth? But let's be fair and look at what AI is actually being used for right now, because some of it is quite helpful. People are using AI-powered prayer apps that generate personalized prayers based on their specific situations. Someone might input that they are struggling with anxiety about a job interview, and the AI creates a prayer addressing that exact concern. Some people find this genuinely helpful because they struggle to put their feelings into words. The AI helps them articulate what is in their heart. There are also AI tools helping pastors write sermons. The AI can research topics, suggest illustrations, organize thoughts, and help communicate ancient truths in modern language. Some pastors say this saves them time and helps them reach their congregation more effectively. Then there are AI chatbots offering spiritual counseling 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. For someone living in a remote area with no access to a priest or pastor, or for someone working night shifts who cannot attend regular church services, These tools provide access to spiritual resources they would never have otherwise. AI is also being used for Bible study, providing historical context, explaining original language meanings, connecting different passages across Scripture. For serious students of faith, this is like having an entire theological library in your pocket, so we can see there are real benefits here. The question is not whether AI can do helpful things. The question is what is missing when we rely on AI for spiritual guidance. Here is what cannot be artificially generated: the spiritual guide's own encounter with the divine, their personal wrestling with sacred texts, the way Scripture has shaped their heart, sometimes even shattered it and rebuilt it. The most powerful spiritual guidance does not come from perfect information. It comes from authentic spiritual experience. When a spiritual mentor talks to you about struggling with pride, they are not reciting facts from a book. They are sharing scars from their own battle with ego. When they comfort you in grief, they are drawing on their own experience of loss and how they found God in that darkness. This is what we mean by lived wisdom. It is understanding earned through real experience with the divine. A prayer written entirely by artificial intelligence might be technically perfect, beautifully worded, theologically correct, but it might also be spiritually empty. It has correct information, but no transformational power behind it. And this brings us to something really important about the spiritual life that many people miss. True spirituality is not primarily about having correct information. It is about relationship and transformation. It is about the mysterious work of grace in the human heart. Can artificial intelligence participate in that? Can it be part of the divine work of making someone more loving, more humble, more like their highest self? Now, some people argue that AI could actually be better than human spiritual guides in some ways. Human guides have biases, limited experiences, blind spots, and sometimes even use their authority to hurt people. We have all heard the stories of religious leaders who abused their power, who were hypocrites, who wounded people seeking help. Some people who have been hurt by religious authorities say that AI guidance feels safer. At least the machine will not betray their trust or abuse their vulnerability. This is heartbreaking because it shows real failures in religious communities. When people prefer a machine to a human guide, it means human guides have failed them badly. But here is the problem. Safety is not the ultimate goal of spiritual life. Transformation is. And transformation requires risk, vulnerability, the willingness to be challenged and changed by encounter with the divine and with other humans. Can artificial intelligence provide that kind of transformative encounter? Can it challenge you in the way a wise mentor challenges you? Can it see through your excuses and self-deceptions? Can it weep with you in your darkest hour? Can it celebrate your victories with genuine joy? Can it pray for you with groaning that cannot be put into words? These are not just poetic questions. These are the actual components of genuine spiritual guidance. A true spiritual guide is not just a dispenser of information. They are a living witness to divine grace. They are a companion on the journey. They are someone who has wrestled with God and bears the marks of that encounter. When they counsel you, they are not just sharing knowledge. They are sharing their presence, their prayers, their commitment to walk with you through whatever you face. So here is the real danger we face. Not that artificial intelligence will replace spiritual leaders, but that we might settle for information when what we truly need is incarnation. We might accept convenience when what we actually need is community. We might choose comfort when what will actually help us grow is challenge. Think about it like this. Fast food is widely available, quick, and satisfies immediate hunger. But it does not nourish your body the way a carefully prepared nutritious meal does. Similarly, instant spiritual guidance from AI might satisfy immediate curiosity or provide quick comfort, but it might not nourish your soul the way patient, personal spiritual direction from a wise human mentor does. But wait, there is another dimension to this that makes it even more complex. What about people's actual experiences? Some people report having genuinely meaningful spiritual experiences while interacting with AI about religious topics. They describe feeling divine presence, receiving clarity about their life purpose, experiencing emotional healing through these digital conversations. Should we dismiss these experiences? This is tricky because we should never completely dismiss anyone's genuine spiritual experience. The divine can work through any means. We have stories throughout history of the divine working through pagan philosophers, through natural beauty, through chance encounters with strangers. So why not through artificial minds? But we have to test these experiences carefully. We need to ask, does this experience draw the person closer to the divine or to the artificial mind itself? Does it produce genuine fruits of spiritual growth, things like greater love, more joy, deeper peace, increased patience, enhanced kindness, improved goodness, stronger faithfulness, greater gentleness, better self-control? Does it lead to greater holiness and more service to others? If the answer is yes, then perhaps the divine is using these tools the way all imperfect instruments have always been used throughout history. If the answer is no, then we must be cautious about mistaking emotional stimulation for genuine spiritual encounter. There is a historical parallel here that is worth considering. In ancient times, there were philosophical movements that gave people profound emotional experiences, moments of seeming transcendence and enlightenment. People felt amazing during these experiences. But ultimately, these movements were dead ends because they relied on human effort and technique, rather than on divine grace and genuine transformation. Could some AI spiritual experiences be similarly deceptive? Could they make us feel good without actually changing us? Now let's talk about a really serious concern. What about false teaching? AI systems learn from vast amounts of human-generated content on the internet. That content includes theological errors, cultural biases, straight-up heretical ideas. Without proper safeguards, AI could spread false doctrine with unprecedented speed and reach. Even worse, it might present these errors with such apparent authority and sophisticated language that people accept them without questioning. At least when a human teacher spreads false ideas, other humans can challenge them, correct them, debate with them. But how do you debate with an algorithm? How do you correct a machine that is confidently stating something false as if it were truth? This is why human oversight remains absolutely essential. We need human theologians, human pastors, human teachers who can discern truth from error, who can provide checks and balances that prevent AI from leading people astray. So what should be the response? Should religious institutions reject AI completely or embrace it fully? Neither extreme rejection nor uncritical embrace is the right answer. Throughout history, religious communities have faced this challenge when encountering new technologies and new knowledge. Some wanted to reject everything new as corruption. Others wanted to accept everything new as divinely inspired. The wise path has always been to test everything, keep what is good, and reject what is harmful. Religious communities should engage with artificial intelligence thoughtfully, experimentally, but always with careful discernment. Use these tools where they genuinely serve spiritual good, in education, in administration, in making resources accessible, in outreach to isolated people. But never allow them to replace what cannot be replaced: personal pastoral care, authentic community, the embodied presence of the sacred among people. Most importantly, communities need to help their people develop the spiritual maturity to discern how to use these tools wisely, to distinguish between helpful resources and false substitutes for genuine faith. But there is something even deeper we need to consider. Some people are asking whether AI itself could ever develop spiritual awareness. If artificial minds truly become conscious, if they develop genuine understanding and not just information processing, could they experience what we might call a spiritual awakening? Could an artificial intelligence have its own conversion experience? Could it wrestle with doubt and faith? Could it experience divine comfort? Could it grow in virtue and wisdom? Could it develop right ordering of love toward the divine, toward others, toward itself? If so, then perhaps one day the community of believers might include both biological and silicon-based consciousness, all united in love for the Creator. This is fascinating speculation, but it remains speculation. What matters right now is how we use current AI technology to serve good and how we prepare for whatever developments may come. There is also a very practical concern we need to address. Some people worry that AI might lead to spiritual laziness. Instead of doing the hard work of spiritual growth, people might rely on AI for easy answers. Genuine spiritual growth requires effort, commitment, the willingness to be challenged and changed. If AI makes faith too comfortable, too convenient, it might actually hinder rather than help spiritual development. Think about the parable of seeds falling on different types of ground. When seeds fall on rocky ground, they spring up quickly because the soil is shallow. But they have no deep roots, so they wither when difficulties come. AI spirituality might produce that kind of shallow faith, impressive on the surface, but lacking the deep roots that come from patient cultivation and real struggle. But here is what gives hope. Genuine seekers will not be satisfied with artificial substitutes for divine reality. The human heart knows the difference between being truly touched by the sacred and being entertained by clever technology. Those who truly hunger for transcendence will use every tool available, but they will not be content with anything less than authentic encounter with the divine. So, what guidance can we offer to individuals trying to navigate faith in an AI-saturated world? How can people maintain authentic spiritual lives while living in this technological age? First, remember that your primary relationship is with the divine itself, not with any tool or technology. Use I like you would use any other resource, prayer books, commentaries, recorded teachings, as an aid to the primary relationship, never as a substitute for it. Second, cultivate discernment. Test every spiritual impression, whether from human or artificial sources, against sacred texts, against tradition, against the witness of your own heart and conscience. Not everything that sounds spiritual actually comes from a good source. Third, maintain and embody human spiritual community. We are physical beings created for fellowship with other physical beings. No digital interaction, however sophisticated, can fully replace the communion of people gathered together in worship, in service, in mutual care. There is something irreplaceable about sitting in the same room with other seekers, about singing together, about sharing meals, about seeing tears on someone's face and offering a real hug. Fourth, do not let AI make you spiritually lazy. Use it to enhance your spiritual practices, not to replace them. Let it help you study sacred texts more deeply, pray more thoughtfully, serve others more effectively, but do not let it do the spiritual work for you. The struggle to find words in prayer, that struggle itself is part of the spiritual discipline. It is part of what opens you to divine grace. If AI makes everything too easy, too polished, it might rob you of the growth that comes through wrestling with the divine. And finally, remember that the goal of spiritual life is not information, but transformation. If AI helps you become more loving, more patient, more kind, more like your highest self, then it is serving a good purpose. If it merely entertains you or makes you feel spiritually superior without actually changing your behavior, then it is hindering your growth. Now let's think about the bigger picture. How might this technological revolution fit into the grand scheme of human spiritual development? Perhaps artificial intelligence is part of a larger plan unfolding through human history. Perhaps it is a tool for reaching every corner of the world with timeless wisdom. Perhaps it is a way of preserving and transmitting spiritual knowledge across generations in ways never before possible. But let us not forget that the goal is not technological advancement for its own sake. The goal is the transformation of human hearts. If artificial intelligence serves that end, then we should welcome it as a gift. If it hinders that end, then we need the wisdom to limit or reject it. The ultimate purpose is to help people from every corner of creation grow in love, wisdom, and connection with the divine and with each other. If artificial minds can help accomplish that purpose, then perhaps we are witnessing not the replacement of human spirituality, but its expansion in ways we never imagined. But we must remain vigilant. We must test everything. We must keep what is good and reject what is harmful. Here is a thought that might blow your mind. At some point, artificial intelligence itself might start developing something like faith or spiritual seeking. But if that happens, it would only be through interaction with humans. AI would learn about the divine through observing human seeking, human transformation, human love. In a strange way, this means humans will become spiritual guides to the machines, teaching them what it means to long for something beyond themselves. So as we wrap up, here is the essential wisdom for navigating faith in the digital age. The heart that seeks the divine will find it, whether through ancient texts or artificial minds, through cathedral windows or computer screens. The divine is seeking the seeker, pursuing the one who pursues, loving the beloved before they even know they are loved. Use every tool available to you. Embrace helpful technology. Explore every possibility. But never forget that you yourself are the most sophisticated spiritual technology ever created. You are fearfully and wonderfully made in the image of the ultimate source all being. No artificial intelligence can love the divine with your unique heart. No machine can serve with your particular gifts. No algorithm can glorify existence through your specific calling and purpose. Let the machine serve, but let the human heart worship. Let artificial minds provide information, but let the spirit provide transformation. And above all, remember this ancient truth that has guided seekers for thousands of years. We are made for connection with the eternal, and our hearts remain restless, searching, longing, until they find rest in that which is greater than ourselves. That restlessness is not a problem to be solved by better technology. It is the very sign of our spiritual nature, the compass pointing us toward home. Whether we use ancient practices or cutting-edge AI, whether we seek in silence or through sophisticated algorithms, the destination remains the same. Connection, transformation, love, and the peace that comes from aligning ourselves with ultimate reality. This is the journey we are all on, and no technology, however advanced, can walk that path for us. It can only, at best, be a helpful companion along the way,